definitely better, because we have invited Gciniwe Fakudze, who has been recognized as an inspirational woman of note. Apart from that, she holds multiple degrees and has held multiple titles across so many organizations in the Kingdom of Eswatini. She comes on the show to share her insights on business, city development, and most importantly, mentor our participants.
Hello, my name is Nana Sambo and I am from Babane.
Right, hello, my name is Tembisogunene and I am from Babane.
My name is Zinzitwala and I am from the Hoho region, but right now I live in Babane, the capital city of Eswatini.
My name is Ebonization, otherwise known as the Silent Writer. I am a poet, MC and events curator from the beautiful kingdom of Eswatini.
I'm in the business of people, so I'm an actress, I'm a host, MC, TV presenter, and I'm a mom.
I'm an actor. I'm also an entrepreneur.
I do a lot of things. I'd like to call myself multifaceted. So I'm in business, I'm an entrepreneur. I own a beauty parlor. I'm also the country manager for a company called Liquid Logic, where we do refrigeration and cooling systems. And I'm also a content creator for social media platforms.
I am inspired by God. God is everything.
I would like to meet Gciniwe Fakudze because I think she embodies what it means to be a 21st century woman in Eswatini. She carries, the characteristics of being a leader, but at the same time, she is very sociable and just gorgeous. So yeah.
I'd love to meet Gciniwe Fakudze because as a creative enthusiast and someone who is passionate about driving the creative economy through hosting events in the city, I'd love to get a sense of what the municipality and what she thinks about town planning and programming as far as youth empowerment is concerned, as far as cultural programs as the fundamental backbone of driving vibrancy and sustenance in cities is concerned.
I don't deserve to sit at the table with Gciniwe Fakudze. It's humbling. Everything in my life, I don't deserve it. The only thing I deserve is the heels, the things I buy for my self-interest. I look lovely, right?
I want to meet Gciniwe Fakudze because I feel like she's been one of the most prominent people, and she's an inspiration mostly to the youth. So I think there's so much to learn from her.
What I'm looking forward to at the breakfast date is just the conversations, to pick at people's brains and their opinions and their ideas. Those stuff really fascinate me, so I'm really, really excited about the conversations.
Mostly learning. I'm just here to be a sponge and take knowledge.
The food, can I say food? No, I'm joking, but to be in the presence of a very powerful woman who's herself, I think it's the greatest privilege on being at this table, and the young people, everybody who was here. Yeah.
Hello again and welcome to the platform. Seated with me are 4 bright participants, and most importantly joined by our champion of the day, which is of course Gciniwe Fakudze. She joins us to share insights on the business and most importantly inspire the young ones at home through our participants here today, who are here to ask questions on your behalf. Firstly, I'd like to welcome everyone on the table, and most importantly you, Gciniwe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Just to kick off the show, we do have a bunch of questions in our lovely bowl right next to, right in front of you. Sorry, you will be picking 3 questions from those. Okay. Please do read them out loud and then respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
Yes, please.
Woo, woo, woo. Drum roll. Let's do this. Okay. The first one. What's the one challenge you faced as a leader, and how did you overcome it? Quickly, the challenge was being a leader. Being a leader is very challenging, and I think people think that it's the easiest thing you can do. But it comes with responsibility. People have expectations. You've got dreams, you've got goals, you've got positives about you and negatives. So you need to first understand myself as a leader, the person I am, understand the people I'm leading, and then at every instant constantly do a self-introspection of how I'm doing as a leader. But it's not an easy thing, guys. It's the hugest challenge ever. Yeah. And if you ever become a leader, be self-aware, but equally be aware of the people you lead. Abafanan.
Yeah.
Second challenge question: what is the most expensive? How?
Yes,
that's interesting.
What is the most expensive thing you've ever bought? A home.
Yeah.
Go out there and buy homes.
Yeah.
That's the greatest asset you can acquire, and that should be the most expensive. What's the most memorable piece of advice you've received in your career? It will have to be my father. When I started working in Stegi at 23 years old, I was so scared, I was so nervous. I stayed with my father in Stegi, by the way. He was in Bible College. He was my housemate for my 3 years in Stegi. And the first day I woke up to go to work, I was so nervous. I was a little girl, 23 years old. He said, listen, toughen up. No one knows that you're 23 until you show them. So be tough, be strong. You are here because you deserve it and you've qualified to be here. So it wasn't deep, but at every instance and every point in my life when I pause and I get challenged, I think, no one knows how scared I am.
Yeah.
They didn't know I was a 23-year-old girl. They just saw a CEO. So toughen up
Yeah.
and show up.
All right.
So yeah, that would be it.
Okay, just to kick it off, you know, you've been recognized as an inspirational woman of note, which is such a huge title to carry, you know. Who or what inspires you, and how do you hope to inspire others?
Honestly, it sounds like a cliche when people say, it's my mother. But for me, it has to be. My mother grew up in Msunduza. That's Ngakoko wami in Msunduza. And she married a pastor. Yeah. So a majority of her life was a combination of being a mother, a career woman, a pastor's wife. But she built a strong woman in me that, and she never really had too many expectations. I don't remember my mom sitting and having a conversation about marriage, the typical conversations, children.
Yes.
The conversations me and my mom would have were, so what's next? So which mountain are you climbing now? What's the biggest challenge you have? And genuinely and truthfully, she allowed me to find myself and to be a strong woman. So what I hope to achieve and leave as a legacy is a young woman who started at 23, grew up, became an old woman, and still stood true to who she believes she is. Play my part the best I can. Don't cower. Don't back down.
Yeah.
Just stand strong and keep moving forward.
All right, and as I have already mentioned, you know, we have 4 young people who are doing exceptionally well in their communities, and you know, they're doing work that inspires some of us and most of us here in the Kingdom of Eswatini. So just to kick it off, I will give it off to Nana to ask her question.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. So personal branding, Gciniwe, from looking from Facebook and Instagram social media, you've got over 80,000 of a following and counting to 1 million. a million. Yeah. So just precisely, how would you advise a young influencer aspiring at home to build a strong brand like you have over the years?
Thank you, and for the compliment, Nana. So for me, building a personal brand starts with understanding who you are. Being authentic, being genuine, being true to who you want to be, not copying other people, and literally just driving content that speaks to you and is genuinely and truthfully you. Now, to the followers and the social media influence, I suppose for me, I never really sat down and thought about it. I never really started counting and saying, I want to get to 50,000. It grew organically, and for me, that's the lesson. If you're true to what you're trying to drive, be very genuine, it will grow organically. But don't be overwhelmed by who is following, who is not following. The 1,000 that's following you could be the audience you need. So for me, it's not in the numbers. It's in who is following. So if you come to me and say, let me grow it and get it to 200,000, I ask you of who? Because people that must follow me are the ones that intentionally go and find me because I speak to what they want to hear. So I'm not hung up on the numbers, and maybe you shouldn't be, because when you start getting hung up on the numbers, you're going to go collecting followers that don't even want to listen to your content, don't understand your brand, or even can contribute positively to you. So it's not in the numbers. Maybe you can say it is if I monetize it. But genuinely, when it comes to who you are and what you're trying to push, you'd rather focus on quality than quantity.
Sweet.
Absolutely amazing. I love your clarity of thought, and for real, you're mind blowing. And I think this breakfast meeting has already been insightful, you know. But as current CEO of the municipality, I'd love to to find out what's your vision for the cultural landscape of the city. I mean, we can agree that the cultural aspect of things kind of acts as a pulse that drives the creative economy and the vibrancy of towns and cities. But what's the vision that you have?
So the vision really has to be, when you think about Mbabane, if I'd ask you around the table, when I say Manzini, what human being? If I said Manzini walk in, what would you expect to walk in? I would expect a Gciniwe from Ekasi wearing her all-star and bumping a bit. That's the Manzini beat.
Manzini,
And if I say Zuluini, you'd expect a young person wearing hippie shorts, like dragging with a half top if it's a girl, and a hat. But if you think of Mbabane, equally, that just hits you in the face, because historically and culturally, Mbabane was the capital city. So we'd always think studious, corporate, ladies in high heels. They don't shout, they speak softly. In Manzini we shout, "Hey, where now?" But then to get quickly to your question, so when you talk about that and you ask me that question, there's two aspects to it, the tangible and intangible. So for your tangible, we have a city program that looks at our historical sites, our buildings, how the culture comes out in our architecture, our building styles. We've got buildings in Mbabane that are very, very old and tell a story, the DPM's offices. When you look at that, you think, oh, old. No, that's history, that's culture. Then when you come to the intangible culture, that's the beat of the town, that's people like you, the art. How do you pick it up on the street furniture? How do you pick it up on how we landscape? We have a huge task to in front of us. And really, just to sum it up, we appreciate the heritage, the culture, the richness of what Mbabane stands for. And through all our programs, from our infrastructure program to our historic program to our landscaping program, we even have a team that's looking at historic sites and buildings in town. There is an intention to drive that on. But more importantly, to you as an artist, what we expect is artists to get up. We need people to curate it. We need people to document it. If I'd say I want to build a museum, what would go into the museum? So we need to, as a collective, start putting together the pieces that speak of Mbabane. I mean, I was going on social media, I think it's about a week ago, and I saw the pictures of Mbabane from
1970.
Yeah, as old as. But if you'd ask me now, do I have them on my database as Mbabane? Maybe not. Where can I go to see the pictures of Mbabane? So there's a lot to be done. So my sentiment and hope and my vision is to then bring together people that can help us track it, collect it, and then find a way of how we can keep and document it, and really move to even having a museum in Mbabane.
Nice.
Okay, so when I think of Gciniwe Fakudze, I want to tap into your voice.
Okay.
I think a lot of times nowadays we speak of using your voice, especially as a female in different spaces. And I'd like to find out, when was the first time you used your voice that you can remember against the current, against the grail? What gave you the courage to do that, and how did it make you feel?
A very brilliant question, and as I'm thinking about it, part of my response will be, maybe a voice and speaking out shouldn't be at an instance or at an event or at an occurrence. We now need to build members of society whose life speaks to it and is a voice. If I started working at 23 as a young girl as Stegi, you can understand it was shifting a lot of people's thoughts and ideas and perceptions and what they thought is and is not true. Staying true to that cause and then making sure and understanding that you do not disappoint at every instance. If you say, give chances to the girl child, advocate for that. As a girl child, one, deliver, but secondly, open doors for other girl children. Don't have to be the only girl in the room, the only woman in the room, the smartest in the room. There's something wrong with that. So I cannot identify one specific instance, but genuinely and truthfully, when I think about my life, I equally think it's a great cause. It's a voice and it is speaking volumes. When I meet people on the street and hear what they perceive my message to be, sometimes it shocks me and I'm thinking, I never said that. But sometimes I then think, this is literally what we should be. Your lives should be a voice. When you say, I advocate for environmental friendliness, green cities, then plant a tree, you know. Let's see you planting trees. I think the voice is now not just about speaking, but about really living and being what you say you are. So I sit here and I believe that give young people a chance. I was 23, I started as a CEO. I don't think I messed it up that badly. We could say I did well, so give young people a chance. Women, give women a chance. Don't judge us, don't bucket us, don't put us in corners, don't box us off. Not all of us will run the way you think women should be. No, we package ourselves in that way. So I'd like to think my life is that cause. So if you choose a cause, you're an artist, you advocate for that, you're a poet, you're a singer, you be that and really live it as opposed to just speaking it, because that's what people identify more with, what you live than what you say.
Yeah.
Right, interesting. Right. So my question is going to be based on education, mostly.
Okay.
So for young, fresh people out of university, what attitude or approach is expected in an organization?
And that's a brilliant question, because I've had the blessing and privilege to work in both public and private. And depending on the organization, I would give you slightly different responses, but what sits as a bedrock for me, irrespective of where you're going, whether you're going to a modern MTN kind of company, or you're going to government, or you're going to local government, one, understand the audience. I think young people, you're very, very good at really defining and identifying and telling us who you are. But a you out of an environment is not relevant, right? Because you're going into an organization that has a culture, that has people. So for me, because you're so brilliant at Googling everything, at understanding who you are, be chameleons, you see. So every workplace has a culture. When you walk in there, you don't lose who you are. A chameleon doesn't lose who it is, but you choose the color of the space you are in. I've worked with a lot of young people coming into the workplace. You come in so strong. This is me. I am. And no one is saying lose that, young people. But you're walking into an environment. Every environment has a context of it. Don't lose yourself, but package yourself in a way that the people that you're going to understand you. So we love your drive. I love your energy. I love your energy. There was a point when I used to say, you need to limkokwing yourself. At some point, limkokwing hit Eswatini because they were very real and practical. And I would always say to any executive I'd meet, limkokwing yourself, meaning just get one or two. They get there, they're so energetic, they have a vibe and a vavavoom. But in this day and age, do not lose that. Don't walk into organizations and then lose yourself. I'm saying understand them, but don't lose yourself. Be creative, be energetic, think out of the box, and be enterprising, but understand the audience. You don't want to be misread. You don't want to be misunderstood, because you want to see your talent, you want to see your strength. But don't walk in and insult everyone in the room like you're the smartest of them all. So walking into that workplace, don't lose yourself. Be dynamic as you are, but smart. Read the room. Understand where the power sits, where does it shift, who moves things in the company, align, pick their bag, carry their laptop, chum them a bit, bring them coffee. Be smart. Be smart.
Alrighty, beautiful. Gciniwe, you know, you've carried so many titles, and some of which relate to, you know, customer service, directly or indirectly. How do you define exceptional customer service in the context of running an organization effectively?
So customer service, you would think it's a terminology we must use in private sector or in an entity that is selling something. But for as long as you're an organization and you exist, you have someone that calls you, and someone you call, a customer. It could be a citizen, it could be someone who comes to buy, but the truth of it is that you have that. So for me, exceptional customer service is an instance where that person, it could be a citizen client, it could be anything, remembers you for the work that you did for them when you excel and deliver over and above everything without effort on their part. So customer service for me is when, one, we remember you, you personalize, and you make me remember what you delivered for me without effort. So in Eswatini, I grew up and we used to say Emaswati are the most friendliest people in the world, up until you travel and you realize that maybe we're not. Because we are friendly, but we don't know how to translate that to service.
Alrighty, thank you so much for that, Gciniwe. We will be taking a short commercial break. When we return, it is more conversation and most importantly, mentorship. But that is only when we return.
Prime Minister's office wishes a Merry Christmas to a nation moving forward in speed. Sithinkwe towards national transformation, exponential inclusive economic growth, government-led economic growth, and mindset change. Let us all be safe in this festive season.
I think my biggest career highlights was when I resigned. I know a lot of people will be like, what does that mean? But I think that's when I realized the power that I have in terms of the things that I do. So when I resigned, I was able to start a business. I was able to, grow a team at Liquid Logic, and that's when I realized I can actually do anything I put my mind to.
When it comes to career highlights, I say every moment, every day, this is a career highlight. But one that I would pinpoint would be that German trip, 2 weeks culture exchange to Berlin, Frankfurt, and currently one of the milestones has to be working with the American Embassy on a culture, or rather capacity building program. That has to be a highlight, yeah.
Oh, a lot. Being selected out of 6,500 and something entries to be top 50 for the Afternoon Express on SABC3 was my biggest highlight. And being on your TV in 2002 as in primary, when I came back I was famous. Dang.
I'm inspired by a lot of things around me. As an artist, I subscribe to what Nina Simone said, that we need to create art that reflects the time. So I draw inspiration from conversations, I draw inspirations from close relatives, loved ones, and literally everything that's around me. I'd say inspires me.
I am inspired by travel. I definitely am inspired by travel. I think every time I travel, whether it's in the country or outside the country, I just am reminded that, we live in a big world and I'm an active participant in it.
I'm inspired by a lot of things, mostly traveling and people around me, family as well. So yeah, that's what inspires me.
I love sleep, I love to eat, I don't like to wear brown, I'm at home. I wake up at 11, so that's what I like to do. I'm a very voracious reader. I read, I love movies, I love annoying my brothers. I can go on and on to broken records.
I don't know if I have a spare time really, but I'd say hiking, I'd say reading, but all that tends to be acts that contribute to my creative process. So I don't know. I'm yet to discover that.
I'd say watch movies. That's really what I do. Just watch movies during my spare time.
How this opportunity, being part of this breakfast date, is going to help my career and maybe even my business. I think networking, when people understand what you do and you can, tell your story, it helps any facet of what you're doing. So I'm excited to share and to learn at the table.
I think it's going to help me in terms of being able to network and just being able to put the business out there.
Hosting us today is Happy Valley Hotel, situated in Eswatini, where you can get to enjoy so many things, including accommodation, restaurants. It's the festive season, so this is definitely a place you want to come to. But other than that, we are having a conversation today with our champion for the day, which is, of course, Gciniwe Fakudze, joined by 4 bright participants. We're still asking the burning questions, and most importantly, we're receiving the beautiful and right responses for this one and for you at home. We are going to hand it over to Nana, who will continue the conversation.
Oh my gosh, Nana. Yeah. So just to be honest, Gciniwe, and this time I'm going to refer you as CEO. So you're also part of the hiring processes, the interviews. So it's very difficult to tool and when you get the opportunity to be an interview, what qualities do you look for instead of maybe someone reaching or meeting the professional or technical requirements?
Yeah, the professional and technical, it starts there. So how you write a CV is very critical, Nana. Because Sinesolo Sapala, the one we wrote after high school, that says driver's license, dependent, 0, and you lead with that.
Yes.
I'd say to swap that up,
Okay.
lead with what I'm looking for. If I say I'm looking for a graphic designer and you have it in your CV, rewrite that thing, lead with that.
Okay.
And then at every instance, I used to have a forum in Matapa where we would sit with the young people and rehearse these things. Rehearse it until it becomes second nature. So an interview, honestly, is a performance when you think about it.
It is.
Because I'm asking you questions that you know will be asked. So why didn't you rehearse it? Why didn't someone criticize you and you rehearse what you will say when I say, why you, Nana, and not Stara next to you? You didn't go mumbling and decide you don't know. So rehearse interviews, guys. An interview is a performance, and we've got artists here, they rehearse. So rehearse it. But more importantly, what we look for is confidence in what you're selling, because the fact that you're sitting on an interview table tells me that technically you know what you're doing.
Yes.
I just wanted to see if your rapport and my rapport connect. Because at the end of the day, it's not the CV that is going to work, it's Nana. So Nana, tick, you qualify, you're not sitting at the table. Now just seal it with a cherry on top. Come ready for the performance, rehearse, be confident. You find people mumbling, you're like, why are you mumbling? You know this, you are at the table.
Yeah.
So rehearse, rehearse.
Rehearse.
Gciniwe, I'd like to talk career planning. You own a BSc in town planning and town and regional planning, and naturally you did an MBA. I just want to know, for a young person who is just finishing high school, how critical do you think it is to choose the type of university, the type of course that you do? I know in Swaziland we have a lot of like mainstream type of careers, a lawyer, a nurse, but there's so much out there to pick for. And so how do you as a young person get to choose a career? Town and regional planning is not something you just
It really isn't, because when I left here I wanted to do medicine, so it didn't go well at the university open day when I started seeing what I'm going to be doing. So I then went for a career which allowed my creativity to come forth. I like fashion, I love expressions, but my mom was like, there's no way you're doing fashion. So I then wanted a discipline that would allow me to bring out my creativity. And when I found the BSc in town planning, it was amazing, because it's sort of drawing and designing a city and really working with artistic people, different types of personalities. But I'm happy to now live in a country where career guidance is taken seriously. I volunteer and I'm part of a program that's run by the Ministry of Labour that looks to career mapping. They do all sorts of tests. They test your competence, your love, your passions, what you're naturally inclined towards, what you can do. Then it comes down and suggests and advises you on the career options and career paths you can go through. And some of the speakers you've had, some of the champions you've had, Fanele, for example, now they speak to opportunities. So I'd say to young people, instead of just always being on Twitter and Instagram, get on that and Google opportunities that are out there, scholarships, study and study programs, different disciplines you can go through. So when we grew up, it was really those that you counted. But now you can think big and think great. So there's no reason to stay in your cocoon, but really reach out to the Ministry of Labour. I am telling you, you will be happy. The amount of information they have to assist you first to understand self, and then the plethora of options that you have in terms of what you can study. Aksin Joanna's cool acting. So yes, please utilize those opportunities and don't box yourself in.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So I'm an entrepreneur myself.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go, newly found. So I'd actually like to ask advice on running a business professionally and just getting the clear visions of running the business.
So I must confess that I don't own a business. Shame on me. No, it's true shame, Zinzi, because I think everyone should have a side hustle. That's truth. Even if you have an 8 to 5, honestly, you can't in this day and age say your salary is no. And I have grand dreams. I need a side hustle. So I'll learn from you after this session. But the principles that I generally feel apply across all, because even me where I work, I'm a custodian of someone's business. And the whole idea and the vision is really to make profit, not at Maspala, of course, but to deliver on the vision and the mission board of it all. So it's the same with you. So for me, one, clarity of vision is important. Make sure you spend time cleaning up that vision. The copy and paste scenario doesn't work, because when you copy what Zinzi does, her skill set and a competence in being an MC, for example, will not suit what your personality trait is. So in a business, one, not everyone is going to be good at it. I know that now. I have seen it, and let's confess it.
Yeah.
This thing is a talent, because you must see opportunity where the rest of us are not seeing it. So align it to who you are, your strengths. 2, get people that will mentor you and grow you in terms of business. 3, create a very good network in business. You need a network to finance you when you are bad, a network to advise you when you're bad, a network you can stock up with. So you really need a network, and that's how most businesses succeed. And you look around and say, how are they surviving? They've created a network. They order together. They work together. They share. They teach. They train. They share. They do all of that. So I'm trying to speak quickly, but run a business that is true to you. Don't copy and paste. I'm telling you, don't have the energy and the strength, the competence to drive someone else's vision because you copied it. Be true to what you're doing and then push that.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you. Nice.
Gciniwe, if there's one thing that I love about you is
even
just
love.
love. Yes, not even like love, is how you communicate. You could easily be a CEO cooped up in your office and get a communications department to do all your work, but in your leadership role, you communicate effectively. You make sure that you're in the forefront of things. With that said, can we just talk about the role that effective communication plays in leadership, especially in running an organization? You could have easily, we've seen CEOs being appointed, congratulated. They don't even come back to say, thank you, I've been appointed. But you take it upon yourself to make sure that you communicate at every step. How important is that for you?
Thank you for the compliment, Madam Bello. But communication is so critical, not just in a business front. Whether you're a leader or a follower, communication is very critical at the family level and at any point. But you're speaking specifically to in leadership. For me, it's and in an era and an age where we've moved to virtual, I really get lost because somehow virtualized engagements and meetings have taken over, but I feel they lack the personal touch. Because you could easily just be in a Teams meeting and switch off your camera. So for me, communication is a critical tool when you connect with people. And if you remove that, for me, I don't know how I would lead. Because people say emails are communication. Yes, they are. WhatsApp is communication. But I could never replace it with that face-to-face communication and connection with people. I genuinely still think you connect when you see someone, when you hold their hand, when you shake them, when you look at their eyes and they smile and you start to appreciate some elements about them. When you meet a Nana and you pick her energy and it immediately just reflects on you. So communication for me and the power of it being a two-way stream, you equally get to know the people that you lead and understand their response and how they move and swerve when you talk. So as a leader, I'd say don't ever shy away from communication. And in many instances, even the ones that don't celebrate you, and many times as a leader, you walk in and think the first person you must be scared of is the media. Oh, Bob. My attitude is deal with it head on. If it's negative, receive it and then respond. If it's positive, receive it and then respond. But never lose that ability to communicate and connect with people, because people pick and understand you better. They pick your strength, they pick your genuine self, and they pick what you're trying to say and what you don't say when you're speaking, even in an audience. So for me, I would never be a leader without the communication. It becomes pointless because you detach from the people you are leading and they don't know really how to then engage with you.
Nice. So what's said now, what's happening with young people, Gciniwe and everyone else? We are having more graduates and we're having less jobs.
True.
So how would you advise young people who are graduating but we're not getting jobs?
Number one, I would really continue to challenge our Ministry of Education on curriculum. I've had the privilege of working as a board member at JA. Some of the things you pick up when you work with in-school youth, even at primary school, is that we really cannot monetize. I give them 10 sweets, go sell. You've got 10 friends. The child can't sell those 10 sweets to 9 of their friends. They're your friends. It's a captive audience. You might as well say, give me tomorrow. But we generally, as a society, have not learned how to enterprise. We don't know how to sell. So to our university graduates, there are programs and initiatives that can help us now, where we are, to monetize and change that discipline that you've studied. If you've done town planning, consult. People are building around, walk around and see who's building and start advising people, come up with a business idea. And go online as well. There's opportunities online. There's opportunities online. You can work from Eswatini and do virtual work in other countries.
True.
But we really need to get to a point where we can sell as a Maswati and remove the stigma from it and never feel this is too low
This
for
is
me
for
to
me.
do.
Yeah.
My question would be, what systems are in place put forth by the municipality to measure the impact of cultural practitioners in Eswatini, in Mbabane?
Okay.
What systems are in place to measure their impact on either tourism, on contributing to other industries as far as the creative economy is concerned?
Okay. So truthfully and honestly, measuring impact of the creative economy, we maybe need to fine-tune that. And obviously working with people in the space, we can, because we measure literally everything. From a tourism perspective, from people coming into the town, leaving the town, how the economy is circulating and moving. But of course we do measure it when we look at activities and events that are curated across the town. But maybe we need to be intentional around how we measure specific KPIs and indicators and indices so that we can be able then to inform our strategy. So yes, we measure it, but let me confess, not to the finest detail that you are speaking to. And maybe that's an area we need to look at, because you can then be able to possibly reinvest and recultivate into a space where you see there's sentiment of growth and there's possibility of making it bigger and better. So yeah, maybe that's my thingy. I'm writing it down. That's the thing I'm going to be doing. But yeah, thank you for that question.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to be wrapping it up with a short commercial break. When we return, we're still having this beautiful conversation, and we hope it will be insightful to you, but we will be right back.
Lihhovisi landvunankhulu welive umhlonishwa Russell Miso Dlamini lifisela onke eMaswati Khisimusi lomuhle kanye nekungena kahle eminyakeni lomusha. Sithi nkwe ekukhuliseni umnotho welive leMaswati sikanye kanye.
How do I view the young people of Eswatini? I think we're an absolutely talented bunch. I think people here have unique stories that deserve to be told. I love the youth of Eswatini. I think they bring about a really positive change in the economy as well.
I think young people from Eswatini are very talented, and with opportunities, I feel like there's so many boundaries that they can break. So yeah, they're pretty much a very talented bunch. Yeah.
I feel we are game changers. Like, it has changed from Nangsakula Ngomane. It's quite different from now. It was a dream for me to come to Mbabane, Nangsakula Ngomane. I've been in Ngomane for more than 15 years. So the first time I came to Mbabane was in 2012. So when I came here, I was amazed. So I feel it has changed. As somebody in Ngomane, the young person, no longer wants to come to Mbabane. Mbabane to them is wherever they are. I think individualism as young people has changed. We are just groundbreakers. We are who we are. Nobody is wild or as different. I'm different. People look at me different, but it has changed.
My future goals as a young person is to create platforms where emerging artists can find a footing and exhibit their crafts locally and internationally.
My future goals and aspirations as a young person is to annoy people by being who I am, staying true to myself. And as long as I'm loved where I come, I'm very loved where I come from. I think it drives me. And also to make my dream come true, to actually be the next top billing presenter. Although the show is closed, but who knows? So Basatana, give me a call.
I think breaking into the international space, that's what I'm looking forward to. Mostly as an actor, it'd be really great to actually break boundaries and find opportunities even outside of the country.
To be on international platforms representing the country, I think we are opening up to the world, and to be part of the people who can tell our stories, I'd love to be, at the forefront of that.
Welcome back. Right now we will be discussing some very pertinent issues in society, you know, a very touchy subject of gender-based violence, which is on the alarming rise here in the Kingdom of Eswatini. It's unfortunate that we have to look to the leaders for solutions when we could become the solution makers ourselves. But what do you believe leaders and organizations can do to foster a healthier relationship and prevent such tragedies?
Yeah, and GBV is a serious issue. I had the privilege, I think recently, to attend an event hosted by Swaga, and the DPM was there, and we were really commemorating the 16 days of activism, and there were 2 or 3 testimonies we heard. Now, I must confess, I am very pro on stage. I was facilitating that day. It was the first time, and I hope it's the last time I cry. I cried on stage. I didn't even know how to contain myself. I just lost myself. I couldn't understand. And I kept thinking, what the hell is going on stage? And the DPM was sitting there just looking at me. and I really needed to move away and just go get time to be with self. But one of the things that I took out from that session is, one, whether you're a leader or not a leader, maybe let's put our money where our mouth is. Money is needed to fight GBV. In what am I saying? For the survivors. They really need a lot of funding. The young people that spoke that day, 16-year-olds sharing their story. And all they need is someone to just plow a 1 rand per month or even a day. So that they're able to go to a safe home, have food, take care of their children, run away from the abuser. So many of us are sitting here, and in fact in that event, one of the speakers said, instead of putting the nice posters we put on Times Eswatini or Eswatini TV, and we go say, I fight GBV, maybe just take 1 rand and put it in a bucket so that we can fund the programs that are in place to fight it. So my challenge to all of us is, let's just put a cent aside, put 10 rand aside. And I took it upon myself to be one of the people that will go out there and raise funds for entities like Swaga, who are doing an amazing job. But secondly, constantly speaking out. Thirdly, being observant. Fourthly, making sure that in the space that I have influence in, I speak about these things. In Baban, we create platforms where we talk about GBV. We're very observant as well. So if you know your colleague and suddenly she's walking funny and she's actually looking funny, or he is looking unhappy, won't leave the office, we need to start these programs in the workplace where we actually create the skills and the resources to support people in the workplace. But equally, please put your money where your mouth is.
Okay, can I please take you back a bit to young Gciniwe?
Ooh, that one.
Young Gciniwe. I think when we grow up, we have so many, dreams and perceptions of how the world is. What's something that you grew up dreaming of that you've had to unlearn? Because we grow up and we think by 25 I'm going to have a car, I'm going to have a job, I'm going to have, this and that. And then as you come into the world and the workspaces and you expose, you realize that, maybe marriage isn't everything. Maybe, and you just find yourself, what did young Gciniwe dream of that you've had to now unlearn?
So young Gciniwe dreamed to live and work abroad. Yes. I was one of those that quickly woke up and realized that, maybe Eswatini doesn't and cannot embrace the full might of who I believe I am. Because truth of it is that even at 46 years old, I still get crucified for just being authentic and being self, right? I still get all of that. And so there was a point where I thought, no. Maybe New York would get me better. Maybe they would get this. This is, and that's your feeling right now. You feel like, I think maybe Joburg or Sentin would get me better. These people don't get me. But I quickly forgot that dream when I realized that I genuinely love Eswatini. And if there's an impact I want to do, or a legacy I want to live, or a girl child that I want to impact, or a society I want to change, it's my society. It's not because there were no choices and no options. I could live anywhere in the world. But this is Eswatini and this is my country. And So I quickly realized that, no, man, I can be me with my stilettos in this country. I can glamour up and look like I do in this country.
Yeah.
I can be a young executive and an old executive and an unmarried, damn powerful woman in this country. So no one would push me off or run me off. So that, I'm going nowhere, sweetie. This is where I am. I'm too old to emigrate. And I always say to people, I'm too old to go queue in other people's countries.
Yeah.
So this is it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was quite interesting. Yeah. I think my last question is gonna be: so, as the CEO, do you believe in restructuring the system when it comes to like people who are less productive to open up for young and fresh minds?
It's not that
Let's see.
So maybe, Sarah, let's first deal with the assumption that fresh and grand ideas will always come from young people. I genuinely believe it's a collection of different age groups, generations, upbringings, experiences, perspectives. You sort of want a rainbow when you lead, because if you have young only, there's something you lose. You just have to have a very good spread. But I think what you were asking, Tara, is, do I have the tolerance for incompetence? So the simple answer is no. Whether you're old, you are young, you're middle-aged, you're male, you're female, I generally don't have a tolerance to incompetence, because you have no excuse. Especially if you're given a chance. And we just discussed that. There's so many Maswati queuing for where you are sitting. So if you genuinely can't deliver, please move aside.
And as young people, unfortunately, you know, there's some things that we do that affect our environment, our society. Now addressing the issue of climate change, what habits do you think we as young people can do or change to minimize the negative impact, you know, that our habits have on the environment and, of course, the society? But aksithi, but ngithi, you know, we don't pay attention to the things that we do. So how do you believe we can change that?
True. And I must give compliment where it's true, because the majority of instances where you hear societies or specific groupings of peoples in different societies speak about issues of global warming, it's always young people. And maybe it's because you know how to be passionate to a cause and hang on to it until, until everyone hears you on what you're shouting out for. Even in Eswatini, I've met a lot of young people, even in school, talking about issues of global warming. So firstly, let's compliment young people. Continue to scream at us as adults. Continue to speak truth to us. Many times you engage with leaders. The conspiracy talk you hear about global warming. No, it's not global warming. It's woo-ha, woo-ha. So hold us accountable and responsible. And in terms of what habits and what you should or should not do, I think when you go to other societies, you find that they've really taken the agenda and legislated for it. Maybe we're a little behind. You remember when we talked about a plastic-less Eswatini? Young people didn't stand up and scream. So maybe my suggestion and my hope is that I will have a group of young people in Baban who can hold us accountable. So we say we want to be stringent and strict on plastic control in Baban. Let's talk about that. We want to green our cities. Let's have young people stand up and say, we're not seeing trees in Baban. Where are trees? Let's have young people hold us accountable in refuse. You see someone throwing a can, maybe it's a lost cause, but for you, hold them accountable, Nana, follow them.
I'll terrify them.
So really hold us accountable, and really let's make sure that you don't lose what maybe we have lost, because we have lost respect for society, for environment we live in. But really, in your hometown, in your area, so it's small things that for me then become huge actions when you then have a collective doing it. So don't lose your voice, young people. Hold us accountable.
Okay, beautiful.
Nice. Oh, my last question. Ooh, I wish you can go on and on and on and on and on. So normally people would be like, how would you advise an aspiring Gciniwe? I feel it's now cliche. I mean, you're already there. You know, we can't duplicate this awesomeness. No, we can't. So how do you advise individualism, people growing their careers in their different line, being them, because I feel being you is a currency. Anyway, is there. We love you, but you're there. So how do you advise people to grow their career?
I think you've answered it, Nana. You've really answered it, sis, because I don't want to be you, because I cannot be. I can't be Stera. Stera is cool. It's cool and calm. Look at him.
Chilled.
He loves, but doesn't love. You know. So for me, it's in really understanding who you are and being comfortable with who you are. Not everybody will get you. I mean, look at my journey. I mean, it really hasn't been the easiest, nor the smoothest. You know, people will persecute you for being yourself, and if they don't understand you and you don't fit into what they believe you should fit in, there's an issue. And people forget that our journeys are different. So to any young girl or a young boy out there, being true to self is hard because people will generally persecute you, but stick to who you are. I sleep at night, Nana, because I'm in my truest form. And I cannot sustain a lie. If I try to be as cool as Sia over here and pull on his swagger, before you know it, it will fall apart. So be true to self. Really, and fight for who you are, because people will want to steal that and sneak in some elements of who you're not, and then you wake up and think, no, maybe I should wear that weave. Nana, I just know, and she loves her cornrow, and she's true to it. But if she comes to me and says, yeah, my weave, I'll be like, Nana, please, do you, girl, I do me. So yeah, there's currency in being yourself, Nana. There is so much currency, and I hope, if anything, when people remember my journey and my life, they'll just remember a girl that's true to self. This is it. What you see,
what you
get.
Beautifully said. Beautiful said. I like that. My final question is, perhaps one can start by again congratulating you on taking up the CEO.
Let's drink to that.
Definitely. H2O, it's the cleanest. It's the cleanest. You know what it is. My question is, taking it from your inauguration speech where you said you have dreams, you've been in different cities and towns, but being in this position does not mean you will bring Dubai here, which I found it quite fascinating. Fascinating. So the question is, what does Ebonization look like from your point of view? And I'm saying this, acknowledging that you work with a team. Being CEO does not then undermine every other team member, does not mean you will bring your dreams to Mbabane. But as CEO, it also means you are the captain of the ship. And as captain, what's modern Mbabane like in your eyes?
Okay, so the beautiful thing is that when I applied for this job, one of the things that we all do when we apply, you go on their website, you look at their vision statement, their mission statement. I had the opportunity to even read the integrated development plan that speaks to the vision behind and who Mbabane should get. 100% buying into it. I fully espouse to it. Because whether it's Mbabane, Zulwini, Manzini, and any urban area or a society, let me call it that, because it could be urban or rural, it should at every given point service the needs of the people that are residing in it at that given point in time. And I think if our citizens and our residents now are becoming more young and more educated, they want to live different types of lives than we did. The citizens that we are seeing now in Mbabane are citizens that will want to engage with you, but don't have the time to come and sit in your civic center. So you've got to create digital platforms for people to engage. So any urban area, whether it's Mbabane or not, must have a vision statement and a strategy that speaks to the urban citizens of that time, one. But secondly, the one thing I love about Eswatini is that sitting here, I stay and I live in Mbabane, I have a home there, but I also have a rural home. So for me, in Eswatini, we don't talk about urbanization in isolation of the context of who a Maswati are. We then talk about an Eswatini where we should all have access to services. Whether I'm Maiwan or Mbabane, aspect of services must not be a question of where I live and reside.
Yeah.
But of course, when I come to Baban, because it's an urban area, then of course there's more services and facilities we want to have. But come 2020, 2030, you must find in Mbabane where young people don't have to go down the valley to have fun. You must have a Mbabane that engages with its young people, both indoors and outdoors.
Yeah.
You must find an environment where we can breathe fresh air. It must be so green. It must compete with your Rwanda's, the third most green city in the world. We really need to get to a point where we compete in those spaces. We have creative people that live in these towns and cities. So my only call, and I think you summed it up, is a Eswatini that live and reside, do business, play, work, and do anything in Baban. Be free to speak your ideas. The people that work in Babani are not the smartest in the country. We don't need those anyway. We just need people who are servants and will listen. So we want to listen. We don't look at things the same. So if you've got ideas around artistry, around culture, whether intangible, art culturally, or want you to look at intangible, come see us. That's the best thing we can promise in Eswatini. We want to listen. So bring your ideas. Let's see if we cannot make them work. And if you feel like, since you like, my kids can't play in Baban, tell me why they can't play. Let's reverse that. If you feel like I can't shop in Baban, tell us why you can't shop. Let's fix that. And I think that's the attitude we have. We don't have all the answers, but we're ready to work.
I like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, as Nana has already said, this conversation could go on and on and on. But just to wrap it up very briefly, typical last question. What legacy do you aspire to leave behind, particularly in the terms of the impact you want to make in your career and most importantly, your community, being Eswatini, not just Mpabane?
Yeah. And I think we've spoken about it though, Bello, because for me, I want a girl child that looks at me and maybe much focus on the girl child to think it is possible in their country. I listen to my nieces talk, and sometimes you feel sad when they genuinely feel they must then leave Eswatini to go and be the best version of self in another country. I love Eswatini. I don't know any other country I would want to be born and live in. So my legacy and what I pray I can do is encourage any young person sitting out there to believe that it is possible in this country, not any other. You can dream big in this country. You can look amazing in this country. You can take care of yourself at 46 years old. You can go to gym. You can, in this country, you can dream big in this country. No, it doesn't sound grand, but for me, it's the grandest thing ever. Because if we don't take care of that, we will lose the best of Eswatini to other countries. They will go and deliver in other countries instead of growing their country. So let's make this the best country to live in so that our best talent and skills stay in this country because we need them to stay here.
Beautiful, and I'll say I think that definitely deserves a big round of applause from us. Thank you so much to everyone who made their time, Nanas, Tara, Zinzi, Silent, Sia. You know, it wouldn't have been possible without you guys. Thank you so much for the questions that you took your time, thought of, you know, and put down. Thank you so much to you, Gciniwe. Your time is very valuable to us, and we appreciate you just taking a portion of it to sit with us. I hope this will be impactful to the young people and the old people that are watching at home. And all the best for the future, because it doesn't end here.
No,
you know, it really doesn't. And all the best for running the city.
Thank you, girl. Thank you so much.
And that is how we wrap it up. But please do stay tuned as we find out from our 4 participants how they found Gciniwe Fakudze and this conversation just in general. Stay tuned.
Such an awesome conversation. I think the key thing that I took away is something I already believe in, and that is to be authentic, to be original to what you believe in and who you think you are. And I think it got reinforced during this conversation.
So some of the key takeaways that I gained from this beautiful conversation was the importance of collaborating with those that are policymakers and those that are on the ground. For instance, as a creative who's curating spaces, capacity building programs and events in the city, it's important not only to create from a rather distant space, but also collaborate with the municipality in this case, find out what their vision is and how we can better align in bringing the whole holistic vision of taking the country forward together.
She validated that I must be myself. There's currency in being me. Nobody's there already who's like me. I'm just the only me. I'm the blueprint. So that's what I take away today.
I actually gained the fact that you gotta be true to yourself, and the fact that you gotta always try and find ways to network in order to grow your brand or business.
Advice that I think I took from our mentor today is that as much as we are global citizens and we're in a global space in terms of the internet, and what we're connected to is also to look back home. We have a beautiful country, we have so many beautiful people, talented people in the country, and just let's reinforce everything we have that's good at home first.
Yeah, the platform provides a forum for growth. I wish it was there when I was growing up, because I but I'm very excited that people who are younger than me have the opportunity to see such platforms. I feel they are more intimate. The idea is so brilliant, because where do you get a day in a life where you sit with somebody who's in a high juncture, like Mr. Fakudze and the rest? So platform, I love it. Keep it up. I hope they can learn so much. Thank you for having me.
The platform provides an excellent forum which bridges the knowledge gap between those that have accomplished in different industries, those that are captains of certain industries, with the knowledge seekers who are still budding and emerging from their own respective industries. So big ups to the people driving this platform behind the scenes.
And with that said, that is how we wrap up today's episode. You heard it for yourself, inspirational words from Gciniwe. We hope that you will be encouraged by this episode, and make sure to catch the next one right here on Eswatini TV. From myself, Tabelo Dlamini, it is good night and God bless.